Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're diving into some of the world's craziest accidents and one of the most dramatic maritime stories in recent years, the story of the Stellar Banner, a giant ore carrier that ended up on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Built in 2016 by Hyundai Heavy Industries in South Korea, the Stellar Banner was a massive, very large ore carrier, about 340 meters long and 55 meters wide, sailing under the flag of the Marshall Islands. It was owned by Polaris Shipping, the same company that operated the ill-fated Stellar Daisy. In February 2020, the Stellar Banner left the Vale terminal in Ponta da Madeira, Brazil, carrying nearly 295,000 tons of iron ore bound for China. Shortly after departure, the captain decided to alter course to avoid strong ocean currents. That decision turned out to be a costly mistake. The ship struck a shallow area about 100 kilometers off the Brazilian coast, tearing open its hull and flooding several ballast tanks. To prevent the vessel from sinking completely, the crew deliberately grounded her on a sandbank. Fortunately, all crew members were safely evacuated. Over the following months, Brazilian authorities, Vale, and international salvage teams worked tirelessly to pump out fuel and remove part of the iron ore cargo to minimize environmental damage. But after detailed inspections, it became clear the damage was far too severe to repair. On June 12, 2020, the Stellar Banner was towed into deeper waters for a full damage inspection. The team determined that repairs would cost far more than the ship's value. It was officially declared a total loss. They even calculated how much money could be recovered from scrapping the ship, and how much value remained in her cargo. She still held around 150,000 tons of iron ore, and although most of the fuel was removed, some remained inside her engines. After running the numbers, the company realized that even though the ship was worth a few $1,000,000, the risk of towing her to port was simply too high. The Stellar Banner was unstable, unsafe, and could break apart at any moment. So the decision was made: she would be scuttled at sea. After all hazardous materials were removed, her ballast tanks were opened, flooding at about 3,000 tons per hour, while the ship's lights were still glowing across her decks. The Stellar Banner was intentionally sunk in deep water, about 2,700 meters below the surface, roughly 55 nautical miles off the Brazilian coast. Investigations later confirmed what many suspected. Human error was the main cause. A deviation from the planned route, incomplete depth charts, and poor bridge resource management all contributed to the disaster. The loss of the Stellar Banner, along with her sister ship Stellar Daisy just a few years earlier, raised serious questions about safety practices in operating these massive ore carriers. Now, the Stellar Banner rests deep beneath the Atlantic, a silent reminder of how one single navigational decision can seal the fate of a 300,000-ton giant. All right, moving on. From deep water to shallow water, and once again, human error. An excavator is desperately trying to pull out this Chetra T20 dozer. With its 81,600 pounds of weight, it's almost impossible to recover it with just one machine. When heavy equipment gets stuck this deep in the mud, it creates a vacuum around itself, making the rescue even harder. That's why two more dozers joined in to help, and it looks like they did it. Team spirit always wins in the end. Domino effect. One wrong move can trigger an entire slope to collapse in a matter of seconds. He was lucky this time. The slope was collapsing slowly, but the dust was so thick it completely covered the excavator. If the entire slope had given way at once, the operator wouldn't have seen a damn thing. Desperate attempts to save equipment worth several $100,000. The loader operator is doing everything he can to save whatever can be saved. At one point, he even hit the excavator's cab with his bucket a couple of times. But that damage is nothing compared to what the excavator is already going through right now. It looks like the sacrifice paid off. Maybe the fire wasn't completely extinguished, but the big flames were neutralized. Much respect to the loader operator. I'm not sure if the guy filming this rotated the camera on purpose to make it look that dangerous, or if it's actually that steep. Either way, this driver's got a lot of skill and balls of steel. Now, you're about to see two of the luckiest men in the world. If they had bought a lottery ticket that day, they'd probably have won it. At first, I thought this guy was toasted, but he was saved by the concrete blocks lined up right next to him. The situation is very complicated. The best thing for him to do is not to try anything, just wait for the heavy machinery to arrive. The perfect machine for this kind of messed up situation. Pulling the truck from behind can be extremely risky because the truck has absolutely no control. It's hanging right on the edge of the bridge, and at any moment, it could tip over and fall. Looks like this might actually work out. They're literally dragging the truck right along the edge of the bridge, and it seems like they're going to pull it out. Now it's up to the driver to check if there's any damage underneath the cab. Listen. Did you guys hear that? That snap? Doesn't sound good. Usually when you hear that, something bad's about to happen. But hey, let's see what actually goes down. Well, I knew it. When she tells you she's home alone, I couldn't believe water could be that powerful. It literally lifted the excavator off the ground. Only real mechanics will know what's going on here right now. A well-known situation. The more you try to get out of the mud, the deeper you sink, especially if your rear wheels get buried. Sometimes it's better not to try anything at all. Just stay calm and wait for help. Well, you could say the rescue operation was a successful. Okay, kind of successful. Looks like the right tandem got damaged, probably a broken chain inside, and it's leaking oil from the tandem housing. So, yeah, like I said, sometimes it's better not to try anything and just wait for help to arrive. All-wheel drive or 4x4? Tell me, what's the difference? When you put flip-floppers and heavy equipment together, you just know something spectacular will happen. Flip-floppers, winter edition, but this time, the Kamaz takes the spotlight. And check out this guy. He doesn't even look scared that the truck might tip over right onto him. Looks like the driver bit off more than he could chew. This is
Holy
what happens when
shit.
projects are poorly planned, when safety regulations aren't followed, and when no one takes into account the type of soil where the foundation is being dug.
Yeah.
Foundations of this scale for massive skyscrapers are extremely risky to build. Construction engineers have to keep every single detail in mind. Looks like the engineers slipped up this time. This one's definitely on them. A clear case of poor project planning. Well, at least he didn't spill the load from the trailer. The Balaz truck shut down and stopped right in the middle of the road, blocking the way for other trucks. Luckily, a bulldozer was nearby. It's going to push it aside to a wider spot so the road can be cleared. The driver stayed inside the cab, waiting for the mechanics to show up, which honestly isn't that bad of a deal for him. At first I thought it would run them over, but let's see. A total screw-up from these two guys. Instead of one of them guiding the truck, they were just chit-chatting with each other, leaving the driver to dangerously approach the edge. By the time they realized the truck was passing right beside them, it was already too late. The rear wheels had gone over the edge, and the truck got stuck. The driver gave it everything he had to pull it out, but it didn't work. The truck was fully loaded and way too heavy. End result? It tipped over straight into the foundation. A total screw-up by those two. From this angle, you can really see how dangerous this incident could have been. He was just inches away from falling right onto that mini loader. God bless CCTV cameras. The rear wheel on this XCMG haul truck got jammed and won't come off. 2 forklifts tried to pull it out, so let's see this epic battle unfold. And they finally did it. Well, guys, that's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. That's right, likes and subs are always appreciated. Until the next one, stay safe, guys.